Ever feel like your mind's just tired, like you've got 1,000 thoughts running wild, all talking at once, and none of them ever shut up? You try to find some peace, but somehow that just makes more noise inside. Some days, the world's out here demanding strength, but not the kind that feels good. It's that tense, push through the pain kind of strength. And after a while, we forget there's another way to be strong, the kind that comes from calm, from balance, from a quiet kind of power inside. The Tao says the mind's like water. When it's stirred up, you can't see anything clearly. But when it's still, it reflects the whole sky. Most people try to strengthen their minds by controlling them, like trying to hold back a river with your bare hands. But the Tao's way is different. It's not about getting tougher. It's about becoming flexible enough not to break when life hits hard. Think of bamboo in the wind. It bends, but it doesn't snap. That's its strength. It's soft, but steady. Same goes for a wise mind, grounded in the center, but free enough to move with life's flow. Real strength isn't about resisting everything. It's about staying present, even when the world's shifting all around you. So today, we're going to walk through 3 simple but powerful lessons from the Tao. 3 ways to strengthen your mind without fighting, forcing, or struggling. These teachings help you come back home to that naturalstate.com/clear and free. Take a breath, feel it move in and out. No rush. You don't need to control a thing right now. Let your mind rest like a lake that starts to mirror the sky once the waves calm down. Real mental strength isn't about winning every battle. It's about knowing how to rest right in the middle of the storm. And when you do, you realize there's nothing to conquer, just life flowing and your quiet place within it. Lao Tzu said, a mind that tries to control everything is like water trying to catch the wind. And yeah, that's exactly it. In the Tao, strength doesn't come from control. It comes from harmony, from letting what you feel and what is moved together. A strong mind isn't rigid. It's steady, like the calm center of a spinning storm. The Tao Te Ching invites us to watch life without resistance, to let every moment be part of the whole. When your mind starts to trust that flow, fear loses its grip. Anxiety fades out. And clarity just shows up on its own, like the sunrise burning off morning fog. These 3 Tao lessons aren't magic formulas or quick fixes. They're gentle ways to come back to who you really are. Each one's like taking a quiet, mindful step into the river light, effortless, aware. They build strength without making you hard, and awaken a kind of power that doesn't need to prove anything. The first lesson, awareness and acceptance, learning to see what's here without rushing to change what's still unfolding. The Tao reminds us that fighting a moment is like swimming against the current. You wear yourself out, but you don't get anywhere. When your mind learns to just watch calmly, what once looked like chaos starts showing you its hidden order. The second lesson is presence and Wu Wei, the art of none. It's about acting without tension, moving without struggle. The Tao isn't about doing nothing. It's about acting in harmony. Just like a river doesn't have to push itself to flow, your mind can also move with ease, letting life move through you. And the third lesson is balance between yin and yang, understanding that every kind of strength carries softness, and every softness holds its own strength. Strengthening the mind means realizing that day and night, clarity and doubt, calm and movement, they're all part of the same cycle. Balance isn't found by choosing one side, but by welcoming both. These are the 3 streams that guide us on this path. When you follow them, the mind stops being a battlefield and turns into a quiet garden where every thought is just a leaf touched and carried by the wind. Take another breath. Feel this moment simple and vast. That's where the Tao's lessons start to show up. Not as ideas, but as something ancient. You already knew deep down that you are calm, aware, and whole. The first lesson of the Tao for strengthening your mind is awareness and acceptance. In the modern world, we tend to think strength means resisting, fighting what we feel, trying to fix what doesn't seem right. But the Tao shows another way, seeing things clearly without interfering. A wise mind isn't the one that reacts to everything. It's the one that watches it all with calmness. When you allow yourself to simply see without judging, something inside you starts to settle. Just like water doesn't fight the rock but flows around it with patience, your mind can also learn to move around difficulties. Acceptance isn't giving up. It's deep intelligence. It's realizing that life has its own rhythm, and resistance only pulls us further from balance. When you watch a thought without fighting it, it fades on its own. When you feel an emotion without trying to push it away, it transforms into understanding. Lao Tzu said, "He who conquers others is strong, but he who conquers himself is powerful." And that kind of victory isn't an inner war. It's a return to peace. When you accept what is, Your mind stops struggling and becomes clear again, like still water reflecting the sky. Acceptance dissolves the weight of comparison, expectation, and the fear of not being enough. You start to see that nothing's really wrong. Everything's just in process. Awareness brings your mind back to the present where nothing's missing. And in that space, a quiet kind of strength wakes up, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything, because it simply is. Watching yourself with kindness is the first step to freeing your mind from confusion. It's like opening a window and letting the breeze carry out all the built-up dust. Slowly, what once felt like chaos becomes just movement, and you, the still center, watching it all flow. This is the foundation for all the other lessons. Without awareness and acceptance, any kind of strength just turns into another act of control. But when you surrender to what is, your heart softens and your mind aligns with the Tao. The river doesn't have to prove where it's going, it just follows the course nature gave it. In the same way, an awakened mind becomes steady, calm, and free. The second Tao lesson for strengthening your mind is presence in Wu Wei, the principle of no. In a world that glorifies constant doing, we're taught early on that stopping means wasting time, that resting is weakness. But the Tao flips that idea on its head. True strength shows up when your actions flow naturally without effort, without tension. Wu Wei doesn't mean being passive. It means acting in harmony with the moment, like bamboo swaying with the wind instead of fighting it. When your mind is truly present, it stops chasing results and starts acting with clarity. Presence melts away the rush and reveals the simplest path, the one that's been right in front of you all along. Instead of forcing things, you let them unfold in their own time. Instead of trying to control everything, you trust the flow. It's like the river again. It doesn't push itself forward. It just follows gravity, moving with the nature of its own course. Wu Wei is that state where doing and being become one movement. When you act with presence, every gesture feels complete in itself. There's no anxiety about what's next, no regret about what's past, just the living moment breathing through you. A strong mind isn't the one that forces its will, but the one that moves lightly without wasting energy trying to control what can't be controlled. Lao Tzu said, "Nature never rushes, yet everything gets done." That's the heart of Wu Wei. Forcing things is like swimming upstream, tiring and unnatural. Acting with presence is letting yourself be carried by the current, trusting that life already knows the way. When you move from that calm space, your choices get clearer, your words gentler, your thoughts lighter. Action becomes a kind of dance, not a fight. Presence is a homecoming to the now, where the mind quiets down and the body syncs with the moment. In that state, even silence is a form of action, and rest becomes part of the rhythm. The power of a present mind lies in not wasting energy, fighting what is. It simply responds wisely, like a mirror reflecting everything without clinging to anything. When you start living with that kind of softness, you realize life's been moving through you all along. There's no need to force growth, love, healing, or change. Everything unfolds in its own time, like the seasons shifting without effort. That's the power of Wu Wei, the art of acting without struggle, of moving without losing your peace. The third Tao lesson for strengthening your mind is balance between yin and yang. Everything in life is made of these two opposite forces, not fighting each other, but completing one another day and night. Strength and softness, silence and sound, action and rest. The mind weakens when it tries to live on only one side, always strong, always productive, always in control. But the Tao's wisdom reminds us that harmony is born when we allow the natural rhythm of opposites to take turns within us. Strengthening the mind isn't about getting rid of fear, doubt, or sadness. It's about understanding that they're all part of the cycle. Yin receives, yang transforms. One doesn't make sense without the other. There are moments of expansion when action's needed and moments of retreat when silence is what heals. When you try to live in only one of those states, balance breaks down and the mind becomes tense, scattered. But when you let both coexist, a deep calm rises, like that quiet pause between an inhale and an exhale. The Tao invites us to notice these movements within ourselves without judgment. Yin isn't weakness, it's openness. Yang isn't harshness, direction. A strong mind knows how to move between the two as the moment calls for it. Some days, you need to act with firmness. Other days, you just need to listen, breathe, and wait. Just like a river flows through rapids and still waters alike, the mind finds wholeness when it allows itself to move through both. When you embrace yin and yang, life stops feeling like a tug of war and starts to look like a dance. Light doesn't exist without shadow, and shadow is only visible because of light. A balanced mind doesn't cling to any extreme. It stays centered, calmly watching the cycles rise and fall. That's true strength. Staying steady in the middle of change, staying present in the middle of contrasts. Lao Tzu said, "The soft overcomes the hard, and the weak conquers the strong." It's not a paradox. It's a reminder that real strength lives in flexibility. When the mind learns to yield, it doesn't lose power, it multiplies it. To be flexible is to be whole. Bamboo bends with the wind, but it never breaks. That's how a balanced mind works. Able to adapt without losing itself, able to feel without drowning, able to act without hardening. The balance of yin and yang is the point where thought meets silence and the heart meets clarity. It's a return to unity where nothing needs to be fixed, only understood. To strengthen the mind, in the way of the Tao, is to move between these two worlds lightly without clinging to either. It's letting life breathe through you and realizing that at the center of that breath, there's only peace. And so, after walking through these 3 Tao lessons, you start to feel that your mind no longer has to fight to be strong. It begins to understand that true strength is quiet, like a river flowing effortlessly, like the moon shining without a sound. Awareness and acceptance taught us how to see without judging, how to rest in what is. Wu Wei showed us that acting without forcing is the purest kind of intelligence. And the balance of yin and yang reminded us that life isn't a battle of opposites, but a harmony of contrasts. A mind guided by the Tao Dosen to seek control, it seeks harmony. It understands that everything has its moment, and even confusion is part of the path toward clarity. When you start seeing life this way, you realize nothing's really against you. Everything simply is. Everything simply Strength is born the moment you stop resisting, when you become part of the flow. When you stop trying to push the river and just let it carry you. What once looked like chaos now feels like movement. What once felt like weakness now reveals itself as sensitivity. The mind grows stronger not because it hardens, but because it becomes wide enough to hold everything: joy and fear, silence and doubt, beginnings and endings. You start to see that serenity isn't the absence of thought, but the calm awareness that watches every thought come and go like clouds drifting across the sky. The Tao reminds us that the whole universe moves in cycles, and trying to stop them is where suffering begins. The river flows to the sea. The wind dances through the mountains. The seasons take turns. When you align yourself with that rhythm, you realize you're part of the same flow. There's no real line between you and life, just one continuous breath. A quiet exchange of energy between what's within and what's around you. To strengthen your mind, then, isn't about building walls. It's about opening windows. It's letting the wind pass through, letting the light in, giving space even to the shadows. It's understanding that the sky isn't disturbed by the clouds that move through it, and you don't need to be disturbed by the thoughts that pass through your mind. Everything moves, everything changes, and at the heart of every change, there's a stillness that never leaves. Breathe, feel this moment. The river that once fought against the stones now just flows, and in that flow, it finds its strength. You don't have to become anything other than what you already are. Just remember the stillness that's always been inside you. Let that memory stay with you on the days when your mind feels restless and your heart scattered. Know that you can always return to that quiet center where the Tao lives. And if this message touched something in you, share it with someone who needs the reminder that the mind doesn't have to fight to be strong. Breathe, smile, and let the Tao guide you. If these words resonated with your heart, let them keep flowing. Share this video with someone who, like you, is looking for calm in the middle of life's motion. Subscribe to the channel to keep walking the path of the Tao, a space for silence, reflection, and harmony. Leave a comment sharing what touched your mind most today, and remember to breathe before you answer the world. Every breath is a return to balance. Breathe, watch, trust the flow. The Tao lives in everything simple, and the strength you've been searching for has been within you all along.